Okay, Dennis, we think that this boat was replanked probably while it was up in Canada. The reason being, we found for screws, they're all square drive screws, which is real popular in Canada, not so popular in the US, and it was never used by the factory, by the Chris-Craft factory. They used Frierson crossheads, which look like Phillips, but they're not. But anyway, so that was one interesting thing. And we had no long screws. Normally, the Americans, when Chris-Craft built this, they put long screws in where the frames are, and you have frames, or deck beams. You have deck beams every foot or so. But all of the screws that we got out, there are no long screws. Here, all the screws are short screws that would have been like used in the battens. So that was another curious thing. And the square drive's not a big deal. We'll put these guys back in on the battens, but we'll be putting longer ones in where the frames are. So that's the first stuff that's a little oddball. The deck seams are a little bit wide. They're a full quarter inch wide, and what we found out as we were repairing and putting splines in on the deck up here, what we found out was that they had evidently routed those a quarter inch wide. It's a little wider. They should be about like 1/8 to 3/16. So we really can't correct that without decking the thing again. Let me know if you want to do that, but that's not in our budget and that's not in our scope. And I know you're operating on a tight budget, so I'm not suggesting that, but I'm just telling you. So the other thing that we found that's real curious is this plank, when they made this plank, and perhaps they copied the factory and the factory was irregular, but we've got, if you look at this distance, we've got 2 3/8 between caulk lines. Then we have 2 1/2 between caulk lines, and then we have 1 3/4, actually almost 1 7/8 between. I'm gonna move that over. Yeah, 1 7/8 for sure between caulk lines. So the width of these simulated planks is weird. And then this space right here is 7 1/2 inches from the edge of this plank to the edge of this plank. Over here is 7 3/4 inches from this plank to this plank. So we're gonna make this narrow guy be just a little wider, but we're gonna try to make this side look symmetrical with this side to the best of our ability. Just wanted to let you know that, if you look at that and you go, well, damn, that's screwed up, all we're doing is copying the screw up over here so that it looks right. Again, I mean, I'd be happy to give you a quote on redecking this, but I think that's probably not necessary and it would be crazy. So anyhow, that's the update I wanted to give you for today, and we're going to proceed with what we talked about. Holler back at me right away if you want to do something different, but I just don't see any other alternative. All right, thanks Dennis. Bye.